Be thankful you don't have to smell this picture. This is putrid coolant. Purifying this mess is not only disgusting, but costly as well. Circulating coolant which carries dirt particles wears hard on tools and machine parts, and that means large and unnecessary costs. And with society's environmental focus, we must be prepared for increased pollution taxes. Alfa Laval has a better answer in their new centrifugal separator, the Alfie 200. A better way to keep your coolants clean while avoiding unnecessary costs. This is what the pure truth can mean to you. The Alfie 200 is a small centrifugal separator extremely efficient in purifying coolant from all particles and oils. The principle is basically the same as when Gustave de Laval first discovered the technique more than 100 years ago. The Alfie 200 works like this. The unit is mounted directly on the tank. Dirty coolant flows continuously over the top of the bellows down to the inlet tube. 3 wings in the inlet tube force the liquid to rotate. The conical shape of the inlet tube acts as a pump, causing the dirty coolant to rise in the tube and enter the bowl. Simple and reliable. As the liquid rotates with the bowl, the coolant, or heavy phase, and solid particles move towards the periphery. The particles are deposited on the bowl wall. The Tramp oil, or light phase, is forced towards the center of the bowl. And then exits through the top of the bowl to a separate collecting tank. The purified coolant enters the channels and flows into the frame as it leaves the cleansing unit, back to the bottom of the tank. A closed cycle. In the past, centrifuging coolants has only been possible with large and expensive units. But with Alfa Laval's new Alfie 200, all shops can benefit from this technique. Okay, so what do you really win? Well, first of all, better product quality. The centrifugal separator is much more effective than other ways of removing particles, especially when it comes to Tramp oil. Tramp oil on tools and tooled components usually decreases overall machining precision and thus leads to poor quality. With a centrifugal separator, this problem simply disappears. Since the coolant is kept clean, Tramp oil and particles cannot adhere to surfaces. Cleanup is simplified, and more importantly, the results are better. Further, tool life is increased. In production, this means money. But the Alfie 200 offers another advantage: prolonged coolant lifetime and less disposal costs. Coolant can be used for years instead of just for a couple of weeks. You just have to top off the coolant tank. And it dramatically reduces the volume of waste coolant that must be sent to a disposal facility. Environmental legislation is continuously becoming more stringent, and the cost of contaminated coolant disposal will only rise in the future. This means even more money. And finally, let's not forget the smell. Leaking oil from machining is flushed away by the coolant and ends up in the tank. It sits there like a lid on the surface of the coolant, creating ideal conditions for anaerobic bacterial growth, bacteria which requires no oxygen. The unpleasant odor that sometimes develops in engineering workshops results from hydrogen sulfide gas formed when these bacteria have been allowed to freely multiply in the tank. This problem is eliminated by the centrifugal separator, since the Tramp oil is drawn off and pumped to a collection tank. Pure coolant, free from oils, also reduces the risk for allergic reactions. And that's worth more than money. The difference between dirty and clean is worth a lot. You'll have to excuse me for talking so filthy, but you need to know the pure truth. No dirt, just the pure truth.